I suppose we're not to enjoy oneself in Parliament when one leads both parties as I do. Oh, but I'm miserable, poor broken-hearted fool that I am. Oh, Phyllis, Phyllis.
Yes?
Phyllis! Or I should say, my lady. I have not yet been informed which title your ladyship has pleased to elect.
Oh, I haven't quite decided. You see, I have no mother to advise me.
No, I have.
Yes, a young mother.
Not really. A couple centuries or so.
Oh, she wears well.
She does. She's a fairy.
I beg your pardon? A what?
Oh, I've no longer any reason to conceal the fact. She's a fairy.
A fairy? Well, but that would account for a good many things. Then I suppose you're a fairy?
I'm a half fairy.
Which half?
The upper half, down to the waist.
Dear me, there is nothing to show it. But why didn't you tell me this before?
Well, I thought you'd take a disliking to me, but as it's all off, you may as well know the truth. I'm only half immortal.
But I'd rather have half immortal I do love than half a dozen I don't.
Oh, I think not. Go to your half dozen.
Oh, no, it's only two. And I hate them. Please forgive me.
I don't think I ought to. Besides, all sorts of complications will arise. You see, my grandmother looks quite as young as my mother. So do all of my aunts.
Oh, I quite understand. Whenever I see you kissing a very young lady, I shall know it's an elderly relative.
You will? Oh, then, Phyllis, I think we shall be very happy.
We shan't wait long before we get married. We might change our minds.
No, we'll get married first.
And change our minds afterwards.
That's the usual course. If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, of the feelings I inspire, you may tire by and by. For peers with flowing coffers press their offers, that is why I am sure we should not tarry ere we marry, you and I.
If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, with the more attractive maiden to a maiden you may fly. If by chance we should be parted, broken-hearted, I should die. So I think we will not tarry ere we marry, you and I.
If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, of the feelings I inspire, you may tire by and by. Of the feelings I inspire, you may tire by and by. If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, of the feelings I inspire, you may tire by and by. So I think we will not tarry ere we marry, ere we marry, you and I, you and I, you and I.
But does your mother know you're... is she aware of our engagement?
She is. And thus she welcomes her daughter-in-law.
Oh my, she kisses just like other people. But the Lord Chancellor?
I'd forgotten him. Oh, Mother, none can resist your fairy eloquence. You will go to him and speak for us on your behalf.
Go to him? No, no, impossible.
But our happiness, our very lives depend upon obtaining his consent.
Madam, you cannot refuse to do this.
You know not what you ask. The Lord Chancellor is my husband.
Your husband?
My husband and your father.
Oh, why then our course is plain. Upon his learning that Strephon is his son, all objection to our marriage will be at once removed.
Nay, he must never know. He believes me to have died childless, and dearly as I love him, I am bound under penalty of death not to undeceive him. But see, here he comes. Quick, my veil.
Victory! Victory! Success has crowned my efforts. and I may now consider myself engaged to Phyllis. At first, I wouldn't hear of it. It was out of the question. But I took heart. I pointed out to myself that I was no stranger to myself, that in point of fact, I had been personally acquainted with myself for some years. This had its effect. I admitted that I yielded to no one in my admiration for my private and professional virtues, and handsomely added that I had been watching my professional advancement with considerable interest. This was a great point gained. I then endeavored to work upon my own emotions. Conceive my joy when I distinctly perceived a tear glistening in the corner of my own eye. Eventually, after a severe struggle with myself, I reluctantly, most reluctantly, consented. But whom have we here?